Welcome to Kelly Miller Middle School. I am Dr. Cox, the proud principal of Kelly Miller. Thank you all for coming today. I'm honored that our school has been selected as this kickoff event for this historic week in food access and community wellness. Kelly Miller is often referred to as the pride of the city. And for those of you met our remarkable students, teachers, and educators and staff, you'll understand why. Our community prides itself on the ability to foster strong relationships between teachers, students, and families to build trust and promote an environment conducive to learning, where all families feel empowered. We meet the needs of all students through inspiration, motivation, and education. It's community partners like DC Food Project that will help enhance our vision of supporting the whole child. We are grateful for the new pantry program, which will help ensure our students are well nourished and able to thrive in school. And the Dreaming Out Loud Farm and Food Hub that we will visit this morning is another significant partner for our school community. Dreaming Out Loud distributes fresh fruits and vegetables to students at Kelly Miller Middle School through the school cafeteria and collaborate with school instructors to create culinary curriculum which supports and enhances our student learning. Thank you again for all coming to the Pride of the City this morning and for your ongoing support. Now I'll turn it over to Mr. Joel Berg from Hungry for America to discuss more of this critical new initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cox, for welcoming us today, for hosting us, for all your incredible staff, and most importantly, for the work you do all throughout the school year. I want to give a particular shout out to the school food service workers here. So the head of school food service for the district is here. I was a DC resident for 10 years. And we in the nonprofit sector have gotten a lot of credit for being hunger heroes. But I want to give props to the social service workers who work to help people get SNAP and WIC in DC and around the country, risking lives. And really want to give a shout out to the food service workers. Every day, before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and after the pandemic, the food service workers were among the nation's top hunger heroes. And because of the great expansion and flexibility given to the school meals programs during the pandemic, we were able to avoid mass starvation in America. Yes, we had a huge jump in food insecurity and very significant hardship, but we did not have starvation the way you might see in parts of the developing world today because these programs worked and because these frontline workers were willing to do that. So Hunger Free America is honored to be working with all these incredible partners to do this event today. We're very excited about the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health happening tomorrow. I'm honored to be one of the attendees, as you will be Secretary Glickman and some other people here. It's been 50 years since the historic conference in 1969 that created the forerunner of the Women's, Infants, and Children program, laid the predicate for then Congressman Dan Glickman and others to create the modern SNAP program, which was called the Food Stamp program, that almost ended Hunger America entirely by the late 1970s. So I've reviewed the White House's proposals for this conference, and I'm very impressed. Virtually all of our priorities are included. They're focusing on economic opportunity, poverty reduction, raising wages, increasing the ability of people to stay and enter the middle class, and strengthening nutrition assistance programs, while also talking about the vital role of charitable sector, of the nonprofit sector, of the for-profit sector. So it really is a comprehensive plan, an all-of-government plan, and we at Hunger Free America put our full weight behind supporting it and helping this administration implementing it. It really is a historic plan and a courageous plan. We call it bold but realistic. We're the only industrialized Western nation on the planet that has this level of hunger, even close to it. So to have finally a plan to do something significant. Now, we did a lot in the Clinton administration to reduce it, but the problem's still here, and so we obviously need this extra push. With that, I'm so honored to introduce one of the most distinguished public servants of modern time, 18-year veteran of the House of Representatives from Wichita, Kansas, that Democratic hotbed. Was the Secretary of Agriculture for 6 years in the Clinton administration, and my boss. And now he's my boss again. He's on the board of directors of our organization, Hunger Free America, the Honorable Dan Glickman.
Well, first of all, I'm delighted to be here at the Miller School. My first job in politics was a member of the Wichita, Kansas School Board, and it was the best job in politics I ever had because I could actually do more to help people on a one-to-one basis than any other job. So thanks so much. It's great to be here with Joel. When you look up Joel's picture in the dictionary, you look up the word tenacious, there's Joel Berg's picture, tenacious. He does not let go, does he? The folks at Hunger Free America know that. So I just, great honor to be here with all the other folks, Albertsons, DC Central Kitchen, so many of the other groups that are here. And let me just say this, I've been in politics for a long time. In the 70s, I was on the Agriculture Committee when we basically created the modern food stamp program. It was there, but we expanded it rather dramatically in the 70s. And then so many of our programs were built as a result of this 1969 conference on hunger that was sponsored by Tufts University. So as Joel mentioned, the modern SNAP or food stamp program, the Windman Infant Children program, school meals programs, which feed millions of kids every day and make a big difference in people's lives. And so, and today tomorrow we're not only memorializing that old conference, but we're expanding it and making long-term recommendations. Even though we have our problems in America, we do have the most modern, extensive food distribution system in the world of any country. So we don't have a lot of other programs, but in terms of our school meals and our SNAP program and our WIC program, we have a model that has really fed millions and millions of people and changed the lives of so many families over and over again. And the old French philosopher said, you are what you eat. And if you don't eat, you're not much. And you have to eat in order to have the kind of ability to go out and influence the world, change your life, change your family, change the world as well. So I'm just glad to be here with Hunger Free America, who does so much to expand the programs, to make sure that kids get fed, to make sure that people don't go hungry, to make sure that our programs work as well as they do, and also to be here with people with the nonprofit and profit sectors who are doing so much to alleviate hunger in this world. And it's not just the amount of food, it's also the quality of food. It's food, but it's also the nutritional value of food, because we find that so many modern diseases, whether it's type 2 diabetes, whether it's cardiovascular diseases or others, are caused by inadequate and a poor diet as well. So we're able to combine access to food with a good diet. You saw what was outside here and what we're trying to do to make sure that people are healthy as well as well-fed. And that's what Hunger Free America is doing. That's what we're all trying to do today. So I appreciate being here. It's great to be back at a place that, the school, I'm looking at this auditorium and I'm thinking to myself, how many times, what is this, 6, 7, 8? What are the grades that are served here? 6, 7, 8? I'm thinking how that influenced my life. Robinson Intermediate School in Wichita, Kansas. It was a lot different. And food is much, much better in the school system now than it was then. Food is good in the school system. I remember the days I was there. Remember the roast beef where you could see the colors of the rainbow? All right? And it was pretty heavily loaded with starch and carbohydrates. Food is much, much better. I mean, if people ate was actually in our school meals program, they'd be a lot healthier than they would otherwise be. So it's just great to be here. Thanks, Joel, for your leadership. Onward and upward to make this a healthier society. Thank you all very much.
Our purpose is really around bringing people together around the joys of food and inspiring well-being. And we do have this program that Joel mentioned, Nourishing Neighbors. It's a program that seeks to ensure that at-risk youth and adults and seniors and families have access to the food they need to lead healthy and successful lives. And since 2011, we have given more than $200 million donated to hunger relief organizations. And we have more to come. And in fact, tomorrow we'll be honored to participate in the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health. And in conjunction with that conference, we will be making additional new announcements on our goals and initiatives designed to break the cycle of hunger and empower nutrition and health through technology and information in the communities we serve. And then today, immediately after this event, we are going to be hosting some volunteers at our Capitol Hill Safeway to conduct some educational outreach on the SNAP and WIC benefits and hopefully provide some enrollment service help to those individuals. We in Albertsons, we are in 34 states across the country, and our neighbors and our communities are what we call home. So we're so pleased to be a part of this, and we thank you. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Sarah. We point out every dollar spent on SNAP generates about $1.8 of economic opportunity in this country, creating jobs, raising wages. Some people like voucher programs, which allow people to use the private sector, but the SNAP program really is a voucher program, allowing you to shop at a Safeway, a farmer's market, the store of your choice. Now, it's a great honor to introduce a wonderful colleague, Beverley Wheeler, who is the head of DC Hunger Solutions, the local anti-hunger advocacy and benefits access arm of the Food Research Action Center. Beverley.
Hello. They are not supposed to give me a mic, so I'm not going to touch it so that I can so you guys can get out of here before Friday. Yes, I am Beverley Wheeler, and I'm the director of DC Hunger Solutions. Our tagline is ending hunger in the nation's capital. We believe in the highest and best use of all the federal nutrition programs. So we're really excited at this 50-year mark. We believe that if you do not need to worry about where your next meal is coming from, you can indeed use the resources that you have for education, for housing, health care, and just moving on with your life. So we look at what the government does. There are millions and millions of dollars in federal nutrition programs that come into the city. We look at the highest and best use because we also believe that if the city is using federal dollars to feed people, then we can use our local dollars in order to deal with homelessness, to deal with health care, to deal with education. So that's what we do. We also do direct service, and we believe in SNAP. We believe that it raises people out of poverty. So we're very excited to be here because we couldn't do any of our work without our partners. And so we're very excited to be here, glad that you're here. And if you know anyone who needs any kind of food assistance, you can have them call us. We'll help you through the process. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to give a shout out to the AmeriCorps members, including the AmeriCorps Vistas here, as well as the AmeriCorps Vista alumni, getting things done while building community opportunity responsibility. I want to thank all the volunteers and other partners who came out today. There's the saying, think globally, act locally. And certainly that's what we do at Hunger Free America. And I just want to thank the incredible local partners here today, including the DC Food Project. Lucie, Leblois? Yeah. Leblois? Close enough? Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you very much. My name is Lucie. I'm one of the co-founders of DC Food Project. I have the rest of our team is here with our partner, Rind Snacks. Thank you for being here, Rind. We started a couple years ago. We had a situation in our children's school. We're all moms of DC Public Schools. Shout out to DCPS, by the way. And it turns out that a teacher was spending his own money to support a child in the classroom. And it was one of those situations that we felt something else could be done to help that child. Something else could be done to create programs for that child. And as we started digging in, we realized, in fact, that the numbers were a lot bigger than we could have ever imagined. And so we did a lot of research. And as you all know in this room, DC, unfortunately, has one of the highest food insecurities amongst children in the country. And so we decided to just do something about it, and DC Food Project was born. So 4 years ago, we started small programs. Thank you to Rob for believing in us and supporting us in our endeavor and our mission. And today we're extremely proud and humbled to be standing here with some of the leaders of nonprofit, government, private sector organizations to try and tackle this very critical issue. We are just thrilled to be able to launch one of our flagship programs today at Kelly Miller, which is a pantry program. It is a program that we are launching throughout DC Public Schools in partnership with DC Central Kitchen and a couple other partners to support those kids who need that extra food, who may need that snack during the school day, who may need that rice and beans to take home for dinner, who may need that stick of deodorant, because at the end of the day, these kids need that basic right for them to have their school day go well and be proud to be here and not embarrassed and not hungry and ready to learn. So we're excited to be here for our pantry. We're also going to be sending bags home to every student at Kelly Miller today with some snacks and some toiletries and some Rhine snacks. And so thank you again for this amazing opportunity. We look forward to launching this program throughout all of DC schools over the years to come, and are excited to continue and expand our partnerships that we have today. Thank you so much.
I often dream out loud, like dreaming for a world and country without hunger. So it's probably my favorite name ever of a nonprofit here. So I'm very honored to introduce Chris Bradshaw, who's the CEO of Dreaming Out Loud.
I appreciate you all coming out this morning. We're really excited to be hosting folks after this at the farm at Kelly Miller, a project that was born out of our work in this community over many years, that's connected to the work of many folks who've been fighting the good fight for a long time. Really appreciative of Kelly Miller Middle School as an incredible partner, DC Central Kitchen, City Blossoms, so many folks that, Department of Parks and Recreation, so many folks that have helped us to grow this work in a community that has been deeply impacted by not hunger, but all the intersectional issues that are connected. Hunger is not a circumstance that is just an appearance from nowhere. It's not a circumstance that we don't understand to be connected to our history and to current systems that exploit folks, whether it's farm labor, whether it's land use, land access, economic access, education. So many different things are connected to this issue. And that's why we believe that food is such a powerful lens and such a powerful tool. And we have a great opportunity this week with the White House Conference to do something different and to be unafraid to speak truth to power and talk about what those connections are and how they continue to replicate themselves over and over again in terms of systems that oppress people. I know that it can seem daunting to step outside the framing that we're used to, right, around hunger. But we have to be unafraid to talk about hunger as a racial justice issue, as an intersectional justice issue that touches all of our lives. And this is one of the weeks that we have the opportunity to step up and do that and be unafraid. So I want to say thank you. I'm excited to have you all out at the farm, but I'm challenging you all to bring the flamethrower. Be unafraid. Be passionate. Be fiery. There's no reason we can spend billions of dollars on wars and every other thing imaginable, but we have no funds to address these structural systemic issues at a deep, deep level, up to and including holistic and comprehensive reparations to solve these challenges for generations. This is our mission, this is our work, and be unafraid this week. I appreciate you all. Let's get some work done.
Thank you so much, Chris. I first became aware of DC Central Kitchen in the mid-90s when I was working for USDA, and they're relatively new. Either the first program in the country, depending who you ask, to combine job training with fighting hunger. I helped arrange for President Clinton to visit there in 1999. I know he was very impressed. It's one of the top programs in the country. They catered this amazing breakfast for you today. My long-term friend, Mike Curtin. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. The Tenacious J, we'll call you. We too at DC Central Kitchen are very heartened to hear what the White House is focusing on economic opportunity, because as Chris was saying, it is only through that economic opportunity and liberation that we will have a hungry-free America. DC Central Kitchen has long known that we will not feed our way out of hunger. Hunger is only a symptom of something much larger, much more insidious, systemic exclusion and poverty. But while we have had the opportunity to provide food for those marginalized communities in the district, one of the greatest opportunities that we've had has been in the DC public school system. We started doing work here in 2010. Kelly Miller was one of our first schools. It has been an incredible opportunity to be here, but I think the most important lesson that we've taken away is to listen to the kids. I think that's something that we can all take away from this work that we're going to be here this week, is make sure we're focusing our efforts and attention on the needs of those individuals that we propose to work with, to serve, to lift up. And so when you leave today, when you go outside, what I please want you to do is see my colleagues, our friends out there, the team that does the food here every day. We have Sammy, Travertine, Anand in here. There's a whole group. Crystal is the lead of the school, an amazing group of individuals who, as I think Joel was saying earlier, we're here every single day for the last 2.5 years to make sure that kids in this neighborhood got the food that they needed to continue to learn and live their lives in a productive and healthy way. But one of the things we do, you go outside, you'll get a breakfast that we serve today and a snack, but we also are doing what we call our Fresh Feature Friday, when we actually ask the kids which of these 3 preparations they want to have on their menu. The item we're doing today is squash. We have seen when we do these items, we do it in one school every Friday. We've seen the consumption, whether it's chickpeas or squash or sweet potatoes or asparagus or broccoli, go up by 300% just because we asked. And our dietitians and chefs got together and created a recipe that was going to appeal to the kids, and they appreciated being part of the process. So what we're doing here is not in a vacuum. I hope that's one of the big things that comes out from I'm reaching over, I want to say Congressman McGovern's conference, because he's been working on this for years now, and we are proud to call him a dear, dear friend. But I hope that we remember that this work is bigger than all of us. And if we just make sure we continue to reach out and be inclusive, we will indeed be able to put hunger behind us in America. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have a all-time MVP as a cleanup batter today. Before Hannah tells you about the work we have to do, there are a lot of reasons where the White House is having this conference this week. One is the problem is just so undeniable. 33 million Americans living in households that can't afford enough food, and the interrelated health diseases that come out of that, and the overwhelming need to both combat and end hunger and to improve nutrition for all Americans. That's number one. Number two, a president who really cares about this, and President Biden cares deeply about these issues. But if there was one factor for why we're having this conference this week, and why the White House just announced the most comprehensive, detailed, bold yet realistic plan to end hunger and improve nutrition in decades, is because of this man to the right of me. Jim McGovern is a congressman from central and western Massachusetts. He's chair of the very powerful House Rules Committee. As he's risen in the ranks, he hasn't cared less about the least fortunate. He's cared even more, and he's used that power to get the President of the United States and the entire United States government to take this issue very, very seriously. So it's so appropriate as our cleanup speaker today, Congressman Jim McGovern.
Well, first of all, let me thank Joel Berg and everybody here, and my friend Mike Curtin. Thank you very much. This is a moment that we can't blow. I mean, this is a moment that we really need to make the most of. We live in a country where tens of millions of people don't know where their next meal is going to come from. We're the richest country in the history of the world. We have money for bombs, we have money for corporate tax breaks, but we don't have any money to end hunger in our country. And as you all know, hunger is not just about providing people food. As many in this audience know and have shown, combating hunger is about community building, because we need to create sustainable solutions. So it's not just, here's a bag of food and it's the end of it. It's about helping people get jobs that pay a livable wage. It's about connecting systems like our healthcare system to food. Food is medicine. Making sure that people have, we have produce prescriptions and medically tailored meals. It's about changing our school systems so that it's not just a place to get a good, nutritious meal, but to learn about food, to learn about nutrition, to learn about how you prepare food. I don't know when in our educational system it became okay not to teach young kids about food, nutrition, and agriculture, even how to prepare food, but we don't do that everywhere. And as a result, I think it results in a kind of situation that we want to correct right now. We want more kids to know how food is grown. We want them to be able to appreciate good, nutritious food. We want them to be able to grow it. We want them to be able to tell their parents about it. When I was in college, I used to have a history professor who used to end every class by saying the same thing. Bell would ring and go, okay, remember, the world will not get better on its own. And I'm going to be very honest with you, when I was taking this class, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I do now. Nothing changes unless like-minded good people come together and demand change. What Joel just said about what the president released last night is true. It's big, it's bold, it's incredible. We were talking about universal free breakfast and lunch for every child in every school in this country. Those are the kind of big, bold ideas that are contained in his statement. But let's not kid ourselves. We want to make sure that this White House conference is not just a press conference. We want to make sure that there's follow-up. The devil is not only in the details, but it is in the implementation. And so the work for all of us begins the day after. We need to hold everybody accountable. There's a role for the executive branch, there's a role for Congress, there's a role for state and local governments, there's a role for the nonprofit sector, there's a role for the faith-based community, there's a role for the private sector. Everybody has a role. And we have to make sure they live up to their promises. Because if not, then, this will pass and nothing will change. The final thing I'm going to say is that, I really, I'm always, having been in Congress for a long time, it's always kind of frustrated me that every time, the military budget comes up, it passes without debate, and not only without debate, but they always add tens of billions of dollars to it. Without even talking about it. We need to have a new definition of national security in this country. And it has to mean more than just the number of bombs we have. It has to mean things like whether people have good housing, whether people have live in safe communities, whether they can have access to a good education, whether they can get a job that earns a livable wage. And it ought to mean that nobody, absolutely nobody, in the richest country in the world should go hungry. And everybody ought to have access to good, healthy, nutritious food, period. And if we do that, you're going to end up with healthier people. You're going to end up with kids who are going to learn better in school, with workers who are more productive, and it is the direction that we ought to move in. So to everybody here, for all the work you're already doing in this community, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I'm excited about tomorrow. The last conference we had was in 1969. That was the year we landed somebody on the moon. We used to think big and bold. Then we think really tiny now. Like little things are considered big. What the president talked about last night is big and bold. And this conference has the potential to produce some big and bold changes in this country. So I look forward to working with you in the weeks and months, and it maybe even take a couple of years to get to where we want to go. But I'm all in, and I'm grateful to be here. And I want to thank Joel, and I want to thank Hunger Free America for all that they've done. Thank you.